Yo, 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 what it do, people? It's your boy Ty, Real Talk Ty, coming to you live. I appreciate y'all for being here today, man. Yo, happy Martin Luther King Day. Y'all know what it is, man. The man was powerful. You cannot take away what this man gave to the civil rights movement, what he provided to the nation. You cannot take away. But listen, y'all. It's some stuff that I didn't know. As much as I think that I be on Black History and I be knowing my Black history, it's some stuff that I kind of slipped up on. And if you don't know, on the welcome to the Real Talk with Ty page. I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Vietnam 26910. Yes, the same home as J. Cole. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same home as J. Cole. Proud to say it, because that's one of the dopest rappers out there right now. For real, for real. But check this out. As I was saying, there's a lot of stuff I don't know about the Black history. As much as I like to think I know, I don't know. Especially being from North Carolina. I know it's a lot of Black history here that I don't know. And this just happened to come across my way. So because it's Martin Luther King Day, and because it's so powerful, and it's because I think this is knowledge that a lot of people didn't know about Monroe, North Carolina. Listen, what I said, Monroe, North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte. A lot of people didn't know that this actually happened. And I'm so proud of the soldiers who stood up for themselves in this story, but I ain't going to give too much away. I'm going to go ahead and let us rock with it. Check this out, y'all.
50 cars filled with Ku Klux Klan members rolled through Monroe, North Carolina, led by the town's own police chief. Their target, a brick house where Marine Corps veteran Robert F. Williams and a group of Black World War II soldiers waited. The Klan had terrorized this neighborhood for months, but tonight, black men would shoot back.
Yeah.
Monroe, North Carolina, sat 30 miles southeast of Charlotte.
Hey, hold on. Y'all heard that, right? Like, look, the KKK was basically targeting these guys, bro. But these black guys that the KKK was targeting, they were military vets. Let's go, bro. Like, nah, it ain't happening like y'all think it's about to go down. Y'all not about to shoot up my crib and think I'm not about to retaliate. It's not happening. I don't even know what they was thinking. And it's crazy. It's just crazy that they thought that they would get away with doing that to some military vets. So I'm gonna go fight for the country and then come back to be shot at? I don't think so. Nah, you gonna feel these hot ones, buddy.
A small textile town of 12,000 people where cotton mills provided jobs and Jim Crow provided the rules. The railroad tracks divided white from black, prosperity from poverty, safety from terror. On one side lived the people who ran the town. On the other lived the people who kept it running, cooking in white kitchens, cleaning white homes, working white-owned factories for...
And that's not only in Monroe, North Carolina. That's in a lot of states where the railroad crosses between the poor and the so-called rich. That's just how it is in a lot of places around America. They put those railroads to make a barrier between the lower class and the higher class. It's just how it's always been. And it's especially true. The first time I heard about it was about in Durham, North Carolina. Then when they put the railroad tracks to cross between the blacks and the white, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But do your research on that. That's deep too.
A fraction of white wages. Robert Franklin Williams arrived back in Monroe in 1955, though calling it an arrival suggests he'd been welcome somewhere else. Born in this town on February 26, 1925, he'd grown up hearing stories from his grandmother, a former slave who'd given him his grandfather's rifle and told him what it meant to survive in a place that wanted you dead.
You feel, listen, it's one thing to be black in America, but it's one thing to come from a family of strong men and women who are teaching you the game as you grow up. Like my grandfather taught me. My grandfather always taught me to use the game and use it. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't gonna go too deep, but my grandfather was one of them type, like, listen, grandson, this life ain't what you really think it is. It ain't sweet. They want you dead. You know what I'm saying? Not all of them, but most of them want you gone. So you got to move as such. Move with intelligence. Be careful of your next move. Don't be too loud. You know what I'm saying? Be careful when you know what to do when you get stopped by the police. All this stuff that you have to be taught as being a black man or black woman in America. And it's sad, but it has to be taught. And kind of like him, I had a grandfather who was like, listen, learn how to use that gun because you're going to need it one day.
Grandfather had been a Republican organizer during Reconstruction, publishing a newspaper called The People's Voice until white violence made him choose between his voice and his life. He chose life, but kept the rifle. Williams knew Monroe's particular brand of hatred intimately. When he was 11 years old, he'd watched police officer Jesse Helms Sr., father of the future senator, drag a black woman bleeding through the streets by her hair after administering what the officer called an arrest. The woman's screams echoed in William's head for years. The sight of that badge glinting in the sun, while white onlookers smiled and nodded, taught young Robert a lesson that no school would ever address. The law in Monroe wasn't there to protect him. It was there to remind him of his place. He'd tried to escape that place. During World War II, Williams migrated north like hundreds of thousands of other black Southerners, finding work in Detroit's auto factories. He was there in 1943 when white mobs stormed through black neighborhoods, killing dozens. He fought back then, young and angry, learning that Northern freedom was just Southern oppression with better lighting.
Hey, that's real talk. I spent 10 years in New Jersey, and I'm going to tell you like this, it ain't no different. It ain't no different. It's just not as blatant as or in your face, but it's there. Trust me. Trust me, it's there. Trust me.
1944, he was drafted into the Army, serving until 1946. Then he joined the Marines, 1954 to 1955, where he learned discipline, marksmanship, and the bitter irony of defending a country that wouldn't defend him. When he returned to Monroe in 1955, he found the local National Association for the Advancement of Colored People chapter gasping its last breath. 6 members remained, from what had once been a thriving organization. The others had been fired from jobs, threatened, beaten, driven out. Southern states were systematically destroyed.
Look how they treated the soldiers that were willing to die for a country that gave no care about them. Just that says a lot about the men. You know, I mean, and you know, some people look at it like, oh, they was punks. They died for a country that didn't want to die for them. No, they was brave men because they did what they had to do and dealt with what they had to deal with to provide for their family. And that makes them the top tier of men that ever survive. Because I don't care what I got to do. My baby will not starve. I don't care what I got to take. My baby will not starve. I will not see my daughter starve. And that's the mindset of these guys. They wanted just to provide. And the military was providing 3 hots and a cot and a uniform. Let's get it. That's all I need. Oh, you want to call me in? Okay, cool. I'll take it. Pay me the money. Let's go. You know, so I understand. See, some people always want to give judgment, but they never put themselves in their shoes during that time. Oh, it's easy to say, oh, I would have fought back. No, you wouldn't have, because you would have been born into a society that was like this. So that wouldn't even been in your mind that you could even do something like that. But it's hard for people to understand that, man. So it's just like, it is what it is.
Destroying the NAACP, branding it communist, outlawing it where they could. In Monroe, simply attending a meeting could cost you everything. Williams started recruiting, not from the middle-class teachers and preachers who typically led NAACP chapters. He went to the factories, the farms, the unemployed men standing on corners. Most importantly, he went to the veterans, men who'd seen combat, who'd been trained to fight, who'd tasted just enough equality in uniform to make segregation unbearable when they came home. Men like Dr. Albert Perry. Dr. Albert E. Perry was everything Monroe's white establishment wanted to deny could exist. A black man with a medical degree, a veteran, a practicing physician at the local hospital. He bought a nice brick house.
Hey, they hated that man. That man was a doctor, a veteran, an author. What? They hated that man. That's why black excellence is so important, bro. Black excellence is so important. Teach your children, like, yo, being excellent is not up for debate. You gotta do it. It's in us. You gotta be great. Black excellence is the most beautiful thing you could ever do for yourself and for your people. Become great. Because it makes them so mad.
Drove a decent car and had the audacity to act like he deserved respect.
Facts.
Williams made him vice president of the Monroe NAACP. Together, they set about picking fights the previous leadership would never have dared to start. Their first victory came quiet. In 1956, they integrated the public library. White Monroe barely noticed.
Damn, they ain't want us to read.
White Monroe barely used the library, but Williams and Perry noticed. They'd proven that pressure worked, that the system could be moved.
Wait a minute.
So they picked a target that mattered more, the swimming pool. In the summer of 1957, 2 black children drowned in a creek. There was nowhere else for them to swim. Monroe's public pool, built with federal tax dollars that black families paid just like white families, was reserved exclusively.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Did y'all hear that though? So 2 black children died in a freaking river, but the black folks was paying the same taxes for the pool as the white folks. So why couldn't the black kids swim in the pool? Come on, yo. You see what I'm saying? So if we paying our taxes, why can't our kids swim in the pool? Come on, man. Come on. Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense.
For white residents, black children had to make do with unsupervised creeks, muddy rivers, and the consequences that came with them. 2 children went under and didn't come up. Their names were lost to history, but their deaths sparked something that wouldn't be forgotten. Williams went to the city council with a reasonable...
Why is it somebody always got to die for something to change? Nothing ever changes until somebody dies. It's sad. It's truly sad. And it's been on repeat. This my whole life. In order for something to change, somebody has to die. It's crazy. And even if someone brings change upon the world, they still die. They're still killed. Like, it's like, jeez, like, yeah, but like, you know, it's to discourage anybody else that's thinking they can bring change. Unfortunately.
Request. Open the pool to black children 1 day a week, just 1 day. The council's response was a masterclass in creative racism. Draining and refilling the pool after black people used it, they explained with straight faces, would simply be too expensive. Segregation, they suggested, was an economic necessity. Williams had a different analysis. Standing before the council, he delivered a line that cut through Monroe's polite racism like a blade. Segregation, he said, is a luxury that Monroe cannot afford. He organized picket lines. 8 people at first, standing at the pool gates, silent, peaceful, exactly the kind of protest that Martin Luther King Jr. was preaching across the South. And Monroe responded the way Monroe always responded, with violence. Shots rang out at the picket lines. No one...
Listen, ain't no peace for the wicked, dog. Ain't no... Hey, Tupac Shakur once said something, and I always agreed with it. He said, "You cannot be an angel in a world full of devils unless you're willing to die an angel." That's just real. Because you have to adapt in order to survive. So in this situation, with as far as racism, ain't much you can do. Ain't no adapting to racism.
Was arrested. Law enforcement officers stood by and watched. The message was clear. You can protest all you want, but when the bullets fly, you're on your own. That's when the Ku Klux Klan got involved. The Klan in Monroe wasn't some fringe element hiding in the shadows. In a town of 12,000 people, the press estimated 7,500 Klan members and supporters.
What?
More than half the town. They held massive...
What? So half the town of Monroe, North Carolina was KKK or KKK involved. It's 2025. Monroe, North Carolina. What y'all on now? Let me know. Somebody get in the chat. Who from Monroe? Who been around in Monroe, North Carolina? You know what I'm saying? I'm from the Ville. I'm from Fayetteville. We ain't been down there. But I want to know. So let me know in the chat, yo.
Rallies where thousands gathered in their robes and hoods, listening to speakers promise to keep Monroe pure, to keep the races separate, to handle these uppity agitators who thought they deserved to swim in white water. Leading these rallies was James William Catfish Cole, a South Carolina Klan organizer who'd made Monroe his personal project.
So James Williams Catfish Cole? James Williams Catfish Cole from Monroe, North Carolina. Y'all do the research, let me know. Get back to me.
Cole was the Klan's regional heavyweight, a man who commanded respect in white supremacist circles, someone who got things done. He held rallies where he specifically named Williams and Perry, calling them communists, troublemakers, threats to the Southern way of life. Then his followers would pile into their cars and form motorcades. Here's where the institutional betrayal became impossible to ignore. Monroe's police chief, A.A. Morney, didn't try to stop these motorcades. He led them. Squad cars with flashing lights would escort 50, sometimes more, Klan vehicles through Monroe's streets. The procession would wind through town, then head across the railroad tracks into Newtown, the black section, and there they'd drive past specific houses.
And they would terrorize them. They would terrorize my brothers and sisters, yo.
Firing guns into windows, throwing bottles,
they was busting,
shouting threats, while the police chief made sure they had safe passage. Dr. Perry's house became a favorite target.
What?
Night after night, the motorcade would roll past, and gunfire would erupt. Perry, his wife, his children, huddling inside while bullets punched through walls. He'd call the police. They'd tell him they couldn't confirm any shooting had occurred, despite the holes in his house and the shell casings in his...
So the Monroe Police Department was with the shits. Yo, they was like, yo, we ain't hear nothing. We don't know what happened. And they was there. Yo, tell you what it is, man. I'm telling you, man. Telling you.
Yard. Then they'd suggest perhaps he'd be safer if he stopped causing trouble. Williams made a decision that would define his life and split the civil rights movement. If the law wouldn't protect black people would protect themselves.
Facts.
He applied for a charter from the National...
If the law won't protect black people will protect themselves. Remember that. Remember that. If the law does not protect black people will then protect themselves. It is what it is. Real talk.
Rifle Association, the NRA, approved it without hesitation. Williams formed what he called the Black Armed Guard, though officially it was the Monroe chapter of the NRA. 50 to 60 men, most of them veterans like Williams, men who knew how to handle weapons, how to maintain discipline under fire, how to return fire effectively. They trained, they drilled, they bought guns with money raised from supporters,
they was ready,
including fundraisers in Harlem, where Malcolm X would later invite Williams to speak at his mosque. They studied tactics, and they prepared Dr. Perry's house like it was a forward operating base. By October 1957, tensions in Monroe had reached a breaking point. The Klan's motorcades continued, increasingly brazen. White Monroe had circulated petitions to have Williams and Perry driven from town.
Wow.
Anonymous death threats arrived daily. Williams' insurance company cancelled his coverage, citing the risk. When he asked the police chief why his insurance was cancelled if there was no danger, the chief had no answer. On October 5th, 1957, the Klan decided to make their point permanent. They were going to Dr. Perry's house, and this time they weren't just going to shoot at it. They were going to burn it down with everyone inside. Williams got word through the black community's network. People who worked in white homes, who overheard conversations, who understood that information meant survival.
Well, I heard it through the grapevine. How much longer will you be mine? I'm telling you, that's how black people survive. Talking, letting it flow. Oh, this about to happen? I bet. Playing plot strategize. They veterans. Remember that.
The Klan was coming in force. Tonight, Williams and his men moved into Perry's house that afternoon. They stacked sandbags along the windows. They positioned men with clear fields of fire. They made sure everyone understood the plan. No one fires first, but when they do fire, we fire back.
Facts.
Aim low. Disable. Don't kill if possible. Make it clear we're serious without giving them martyrs. As the sun set, they waited. Perry's family had been moved to safety. Inside the house were only men who'd made peace with what might happen next. Veterans who'd survived war only to find themselves at war in their own hometown.
Telling you, survive war just to come home and be in war in your own hometown. That's crazy. But the fact is, they was ready for war. And sometimes you got to be ready for war. Sometimes life ain't comfortable. Sometimes shit got to get uncomfortable for real.
Men who'd sworn oaths to defend their country and were now defending their community from their neighbors. The sound reached them first. Engines. Lots of engines. Then the glow of headlights. Dozens of them. winding through Monroe's streets. The motorcade rolled past City Hall, past the courthouse, past the nice white neighborhoods where people watched from their porches like it was a parade. Then it crossed the tracks into Newtown, 50 cars or more, packed with Klan members in full regalia.
Woo.
At the front, Monroe Police Chief Morney's squad car, lights flashing. The motorcade snaked through Newtown's streets, and residents who'd seen this before pulled their children inside, turned off their lights, prayed this night wouldn't be the night someone they loved got killed. The procession turned onto Perry Street. The cars slowed, then stopped, engines idling. Men began to emerge, white robes gleaming in the headlights. Some carried torches, some carried guns. All of them carried the certainty that this was their town, their right, their prerogative to do as they pleased. Then the shooting started. Later, both sides would claim the other fired first. What's certain is that gunfire erupted from the Klan's motorcade, slamming into Perry's house. Bullets shattered windows, punched through the brick, tore through the front door. The roar was deafening, dozens of weapons firing at once.
Woo.
Inside the house, Williams gave the order. Fire!
Fire!
The response was disciplined, controlled, exactly what you'd expect from trained soldiers. Muzzle flashes erupted from Perry's windows. The veterans inside had positioned themselves for overlapping fields of fire. They aimed low, at car tires, at legs, at anything that wasn't lethal, but would make their point crystal clear. The Klan had never experienced this. In all their years of terrorizing black neighborhoods, shooting into homes, burning crosses, inflicting violence,
they never expected nobody to shoot back. They thought they was going to continue to inflict violence on us until we fought back. Now, what does that say? They're going to continue. Never mind. Let's get back to the video.
Violence with impunity. They'd never faced organized armed resistance. The psychological impact was immediate and total. These weren't victims cowering in the dark. These were soldiers returning fire. The Klan panicked. Men in white robes scrambled back to their cars. Engines roared to life. Tires squealed. The entire motorcade broke formation and fled in every direction.
Everybody running.
Some cars running into each other in their desperation to escape. Within minutes, the street was empty except for abandoned robes, dropped torches, and the fading sound of engines racing back across the tracks to the safety of white Monroe. Inside Perry's house, Williams and his men held their positions. No pursuit, no celebration. They maintained their perimeter through the night, knowing retaliation might come. But it didn't. The Klan had been routed, humiliated, driven from a black neighborhood by black men with guns. The next...
Hey, straight up. Hey, that's if you gonna go out, that's how you go back. That's how you go out. Fighting for what's right. It's crazy because this happened right here in Monroe, North Carolina, and I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina. So it's crazy that this happened this close to home, and it wasn't that long ago. So this video has a lot of, lessons that can be taught by the black community. We may take a lot, and we're so strong and we're so resilient, but nothing will ever change until we really fight back. And we don't mean it don't have to be violence. It's really getting into those polls and voting for our state politicians, like just getting it right, like making the sacrifice for our future and our kids' future. You know what I'm saying? Like just really recognizing what's going on around the world and really doing what we can about it. I know everybody feels like we can't do much, but we can do what we can. So with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all watching the video. Happy Martin Luther King Day, man. Appreciate y'all. Like and subscribe. Appreciate you. Love.